Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris. I am your host, and my guest is Cathy Adams, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. And the Chamber is really involved in trying to represent our Black businesses here in Oakland. And we want Black businesses to thrive.
Yes.
And I say we because I have the pleasure of being on the board of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce and acting as its general counsel. So, Cathy, let's talk for a moment about outside help that we can get. What about from the governor's office? Is there anything we can get from them?
Well, we do know that the governor, they have been in touch, and when I say they, I mean the city of Oakland have been in touch. And it's just my hope that more relief will come. When we think about how the governor showed up during the pandemic for our businesses, and we know that there's a lot going on, but I really feel that it was a small amount of funds that we got to help, like you say, with the getting the highway patrol. That was on the news when they talk about deploying some of them.
And there are some highway patrolmen, I believe, that are coming into the city.
That are coming, and I think that that's great for them to deploy some of them. When I was at the press conference that they hosted for public safety, and they threw out a number that Oakland has a little over 700 policemen. And I understand that in order for our city, that's why these programs are important to be fully covered, we need at least 1,000 policemen to be able to save us. And one of the things, and you may know this, not that you're being interviewed, is that with the requirement, I'm trying to find out, do they need to live in Oakland or be based here? Because I think that in order for us to meet that number, if people are not applying, is there something where that rule or something could be suspended so out-of-state people, and we can go out-of-state to try to recruit more people to be policemen?
Under the California law, a residency requirement is illegal. So therefore, they can live in Oakland or they can live elsewhere, as long as they can, within a reasonable time, get back to the duties in Oakland. So many of the police officers do not live in Oakland.
So we don't have a problem there. It's just we need to just figure out how we can get more to apply.
Correct.
Because I do know that as this problem, like I said, is real, and we talked about that, and I'm glad that we have this continuation segment because it begins to, we're going to need people to show up to their city, with they have like all of the council members have their community meetings. And I think we got to do a better job getting residents to come forward, because I think that
how do we get residents to come forward and participate in the districts?
Well, I do know this. I think it was about a week ago I saw where one of the other council members, Councilmember Fife, was having a public safety meeting. So I think, and now Councilmember Dan Calv is having a public safety meeting too as well. So I think that if we can get all of the city council members, remember I talked about earlier, the ownership is not on one person, it's our city electeds.
There's 7 districts in the city of Oakland with one person who is citywide.
Yeah, we have our at-large seat.
At-large.
So, but what I'm saying is that if there's more, because we got to find out what we could do when we talk about, safety. That's not my area in terms of the security pieces, but here's what I do know. We do know that there's a hot spot. I've often gone on social media when I find out that something is going on. And somebody said, well, Cathy, you need to stop doing that. Is that safe for you to do? But when you know that people are being attacked when they're working out, and like we don't like to hear negative news, but they have a responsibility to report that. Like we want people to be careful when they're out near the airport area. It has been very strongly.
It has been.
The criminal activity is very strong there. So we need people to pay attention. Get your gas where you feel safer at. Don't go to places where you know you've heard on the news or you've seen on social media. Even when people trying to get ready to work out, I got a call. They said, Cathy, up on Joaquin Miller, the Cascade Steps, there were guys waiting at the top to, after you done walked up the flight of stairs, to rob you when you get at the top. So that's been happening on an ongoing basis. And then I had someone that was frustrated when they contacted us. Remember, they said, well, I want to work out. I said, listen, I just said that's where you work out at. You can't go there. And I'm saying to all the men, this is not the time to be, because they're robbing everybody. And don't put your life at risk. And we know that if somebody is attacking you, stuff is replaceable. I know you hate to let it go. We had one of our members, I believe, that lost a life. I think it was either earlier this year or last year. And she was had a business in Jack London, and she was going to make a deposit, the monies that she had earned. And somebody walked up on her in Jack London, tried to take her bag. She tried to fight back. She wouldn't stop fighting. They ended up getting into a car. They're literally dragging her as they're driving. And a couple of days later, she passed away. Yeah, so those are the stories that we kind of want to avoid. So, Mr. Harris, we can't not talk about what we're in the midst of and what we see. We can't not talk about it because you're saving somebody's life to avoid that.
But unfortunately, we have to go to break. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what are some of the things that can be done, and how do we hold people accountable for what they're doing. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris. I'm your host, and my guest is Cathy Adams. We will be right back.